Hey everybody, it's Shanna Christmas here, Occupational Therapy Assistant, stand-up comedian, world traveler, writer, and clown. And welcome back to another episode of Healthcare is a Joke. The reviews are in, my contract is over. I've got a week to sit here and collect my thoughts and vent to everybody who calls to ask about how my assignment went. Not good, I tell them. They're surprised. Let's get into it. Before we get into it, be sure to subscribe to this channel because I post all kinds of videos. Sometimes they don't make any sense. I'm just doing whatever because I don't know how any of this stuff works and I'm actually kind of tired. But subscribe to this channel and share with some people who might be interested in this particular content. Healthcare stories, traveling, and the down and dirty deeds of healthcare. Okay, so week 12 is done. I've been in Oakland since January 6th. Working at an assignment in a skilled facility here in Oakland. It ended a week early because the rehab company lost the contract with 20 buildings and they all went in-house as of today. And I just heard from a former coworker that it's not going great so far. I love that for them. It makes sense that it's not going great because that place is unorganized and chaotic. So last week I was talking about filing complaints and I have done so. I have complained several times already, but I complained again to a different website about other things. So maybe if you complain from a bunch of places, maybe somebody will read them and do something about it. I don't know. It is frustrating working in a place like that where you go to the people above the people that you're complaining about and they don't care either. And so now we have to go outside to do so. I have gotten a few phone calls from my recruiter because as a traveler, you get a recruiter that helps you find placements. So there's all these people in between you and your actual assignment. And my recruiter was fine. It seemed like she was relatively new to the job. And I probably made her nervous because I'm very short and direct. I've been traveling off and on for 10 years. Actually, no, 12 years. Yikes. So I have all my stuff together. My resume is fine. Everything is in one folder. I just kind of sent it all over in one day. And so she kind of seemed like she was asking questions that I already answered. You know what I mean? So she was fine, but I feel like she was new. But her boss called me yesterday to kind of do a follow-up. And she says, how was the assignment? And I was like, oh, it sucked. And she seemed surprised. She's like, oh, really? I was like, yes. It's a lot of unethical things going on, a lot of abuse and neglect. And every day I felt like my license was at risk of being taken away because I was asked to do things that were not up to snuff. And, I don't really comply with stuff like that because if you do something wrong and something happens, they're not going to buy a lawyer for me. They're not going to pay for my attorney and represent me in court. They're going to say, we didn't tell her to do that. So I'm always looking out for myself first and also just having integrity in what I do. And so she was very surprised to hear that I did not enjoy the assignment and that there were things like that going on. She said, no one's ever told me that. And I was like, well, some people probably don't want to burn any bridges or they're afraid of retaliation or once they're gone, it's easy to kind of be like, well, I don't have to work there anymore, so I don't care. And I almost felt like that myself because it is Tuesday. I've had a few days to not care anymore. And, but no, I still very much feel bad for the patients. And even on Friday when I was leaving, a lot of the patients didn't know we were leaving. So they were really upset that this little crew that they've come to know over the past 3 months isn't going to be there. And I told them to use that as motivation to go home. Some people need to get up out of there while they still can. And if us not being there every day to encourage them and talk to them is a motivation, then they should do so because they're not going to do well in that place with the CNAs there that don't help. There's only maybe one or two CNAs that actually do good jobs. And, it's bad. So I did complain to my recruitment manager. She was shocked. I imagine she thought it was going to be a really quick call and it became a 10-minute conversation instead of a 5-minute kind of just check a list. And I told her, I honestly don't think I want to go back into doing this work anymore. I had taken 18 months off after the pandemic. I was already trying to get out anyways, and I only went back because I needed money. And, there's no shame in going back to something that you don't like because you need money, but I don't want to always have to rely on this because I need money. I would like to be able to be paid for my creativity or something or something else. Just do something else. She just seemed very upset that I'm like, I don't even want to think about taking on another assignment. And I'm going to take a break. I'm going to go to LA for a few days. I'm going to go back to Vegas and do stuff. I'm going to go to New York for 2 weeks and do stand-up because I love doing stand-up. That's my favorite thing to do. But it doesn't pay you any money to live. God, why are we doing this to ourselves? So in terms of me going back to that kind of work, I don't know. It's up in the air. But if I need to do it again in June or July, then I'll pick up another assignment for a couple months. You know, there's nothing wrong with it, I guess. But mentally, I definitely think with the level of burnout, especially in skilled facilities, you gotta get out of there. It's not good for you to stay in places like that because it burns you out and it makes you apathetic to people's conditions. And I don't want to become one of those people. So those are my reviews. When she called, she seemed surprised and she was just really sad that I was so disheartened by what I saw. And somehow her company was part of that because she put me there. But it's fine. I mean, I could say I've seen worse, but I honestly feel like this was one of the worst places that I've ever worked. And I'm hoping that my little complaints get somebody to pay attention to at least go in there and check on some of these people because it's really bad. And I wouldn't want anybody that I knew or loved in a place like that being treated like that. And so that's where I always come from. And having empathy is, you know, frowned upon these days because people are just trying to get theirs and get out. And I think that's lost on a lot of us these days. And so I need to take a break from it and see if I want to go back into it. But in terms of me continuing doing this work, I don't know, guys. I don't know. I just don't know. So other than that, I think it went okay. I mean, mentally, I think last week I mentioned that 2 of my coworkers had to peace out. Like one of my coworkers had to take a few days off because she gave herself some kind of stress reaction. She like a stress allergy where she was just suddenly her eyeballs couldn't open and she was itchy. Like that's from work. Like another one took a personal day. Like we came to work Monday and Tuesday she said, I can't come. I got to take a day. So she just took a random day off because it was too stressful. And I've never worked at a place where that happened, even when it was during COVID, like people just getting taken out because it's so stressful. And so if that tells you how we're doing, we're not doing well. So if you have somebody you love in a place like that, you should just stay on top of it and check in as much as possible because if you don't show up and they can't advocate for themselves, bad things happen to them, unfortunately. And there's only so much that the therapist can do. So yeah, I overall, not a good experience, would not recommend. And if you are looking into traveling, really taking consideration where you're going and the team and trying to keep your wits about you when you go because there's going to be a lot of things that you see and a lot of things that are expected of you that are unethical and might be downright illegal. And you need to really know the laws in the state you're going in and really be on top of it because especially if you're a new grad and you don't know any better, that's when they form you. That's when they make you do things the way they do it and you think that's how it always is and it's not. So stand up for yourself, advocate for yourself. If it doesn't feel right, then don't do it. Ask questions, be firm. I know it's scary, but don't let them push you over if you think there's something going on that you don't want to be a part of because they're not going to look after you if something happens. That's the bottom line. It is a business after all. So this has been such a journey. I really enjoyed being in Oakland. I did. I got a little crew of friends here outside of work and outside of stand-up. I'm going to some parties. I'm about to go hiking now because I'm off this week. And I've got to do a lot of shows. And I'm so grateful for all of those things that were happening outside of the chaos at work. And it's made this trip actually a lot better for me mentally because I was able to kind of balance the 2 things and get on stage and express myself and write. And hang out with people. And if you're going to go travel, try to do that. Don't let the work overcome you to where you don't have a good time. Always make sure you go out and meet people and make friends. And that's the whole point. And so I'm going to end it here, you guys. Thanks for following me on this journey. And I'm sorry if I scared you all with how horrible things are, but you shouldn't be scared. because this is the system that we're in, and we're going to be in it at some point too. And so you got to have enough knowledge to fight against people mistreating you or somebody you love. So if you enjoyed these videos or you didn't enjoy them, I'm sorry. I didn't enjoy going through it. So, but if you'd like to hear more stories or read more about what's going on in these kinds of situations, I do have a book, and I would love it if you bought one online. You can find it on Amazon, the link in my bio or below or whatever they do here. And that'd be awesome. Also, look out for some more stand-up clips, and News with Cussing is coming back because it's politics season and stuff is crazy. So subscribe to this channel, and I will see you guys on the other side. Thank you so much. Bye.